Cool. All right. Well, yeah, Blake, yeah, much appreciated, man. So, like I said before we set up this interview here, I saw your post in the private Facebook group, and people will say things every now and then, but you actually included photos, which made a very dramatic before and after weight loss kind of a deal. So I just wanted to share your story with everybody. Why don't you just let everyone know, who are you? Where do you live? Are you married? Do you have kids? Just a little bit of a quick bio.
Yeah. Well, my name's Blake. I live in Colorado Springs. I've been living here almost 5 years now. Uh, Married. I have three little kids.
Ooh,
My old,
three.
yeah, my oldest is 8, and they're all boys. So it's
There's a lot of noise in your house.
a lot of noise. Thankfully, we have a large backyard that they live in for the most part,
That's
get their
cool.
energy out. So, but yeah, love living here. I work in IT, so spend a lot of time at a desk. Um, so it's conducive to exercise when I'm sitting, 8 to 9 hours a day.
Is your office, do you get to do it from home or do you have to go somewhere?
Both. So I'm at home usually 3 days a week, and then I drive into an office the other 2 days.
Which of those two scenarios is it more challenging to maintain your nutritional composure? Like, is your office like have like a one heck of a snack room? Is it not really like that?
It does. It does have a hell of a snack room. So there's a lot of temptation there for sure. So it's definitely a little harder to keep track, especially with other teams. They'll bring in lunches for the office and stuff like that
And
occasionally.
it's
So
always somebody's birthday.
always, there's always cake in the fridge at any given time. Yeah,
Oh, that's
every
so
time.
hard.
Yeah. So it
That's
does make it tricky. At least at home, I can, it's just me work at home, so I can make it easy on myself.
yeah. So, like I alluded to, you posted a photo of, before and after for yourself, and the difference in weight was staggering. So that
Yeah.
photo that you posted, how long ago was that photo, and what did you weigh at that time?
That photo was in April, yeah, April of last year.
Oh, April 2023. Okay.
Yep. And then at that time, I was sitting around anywhere between 265, 275, kind of fluctuated.
Okay. I'll call it
Mhm.
270. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'11.
5'11. Okay. So you did not carry it well.
No, I did not. I was the most, midsection and my face for sure is where my body likes to keep all that.
Have I was heavy in my growing up as a kid, and I actually didn't like lean out until I got older. Like, the reverse of many people, who gain weight as they get older. Were you
Yeah.
heavy your whole life, or did something lead to that, weight gain?
So when I was younger, similar to you as a kid, I was pretty chubby. And then in my late teens, I ended up getting into fitness quite heavily. I ended up joining CrossFit back in, I think it was 2008. I started doing
Okay.
CrossFit. So in the early days, so I
Yeah.
went to two different boxes owned by the same guy in California where I grew up. And so I learned a lot of the fundamentals there. Got a real good solid foundation. Did that for quite a number of years. Uh, Fully into it. Did the open, regionals, the whole shebang. It was a lot of fun. Great community. So did that for a long time, and then ended up joining the army, which kind of stopped that. Um, so, but those boxes were a huge help for me. So, Dan and the coaching team over there were instrumental in my youth as far as learning a lot of this stuff. They're a huge help. So
Well, it sounds like in the 2008 area and then entering the army, weight wasn't an issue.
wasn't an issue. No, no. It wasn't till it's probably about halfway through my time in the army. I got injured on an airborne jump.
Mm,
So messed my back up pretty good, along with my knees and my neck.
good
Um,
old static line jump.
yeah, nice parachute malfunction will do
That's
that
a,
to you.
oh no. Oh, I
Yeah.
was gonna ask if it was a bad PLF, for those in the know, but oh dude, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it basically turned into a lawn dart essentially.
Oh,
But didn't get paralyzed, thankfully.
yeah, no
Luckily,
joke.
Yeah, and it was alive, so that was the important part. A lot of physical therapy for many years. Um, Ended up getting med boarded for that injury specifically
Mm.
at the very end of 2016 is when I got med boarded for that. And even when I was in the army post injury, I still maintained. I gained a little bit of weight, obviously, because I wasn't able to do physical training, but for the most part, I was still fairly active. Being an infantry unit, we still had to train regardless if we were injured or not.
Right.
So
Take some Motrin, man.
yeah, basically, yeah, lots fistfuls of Motrin a day.
The big ones,
This is
the 800-gram ones.
oh yeah, I would take probably 5 a day just to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that there was that. It was actually once I got out of the army, you know, end of 2016, beginning of 2017. That's when, transition to civilian life, trying to figure out what I was going to do, and pretty much all I did was go to school and do physical therapy. And at that time we had two of our kids, so it was tough. I put on a lot of weight, pretty much all the weight then, post military. Um,
I bet that was a
and
scary, stressful time too.
it was really stressful. We're living in a very expensive area of California at the time. Basically, just living off a GI Bill. In
Mm.
a two-bedroom apartment. Kids and all this. It was tough. A lot of stress. So I definitely coped by eating for sure, big time. Um, so that was a huge contributor to my weight gain and just lack of physical activity for quite a few years.
Do you, to this day, have residual? This is now off the topic of weight gain.
Yeah.
Do you now have stuff that you need to deal with, like residual effects from that accident in the military that affect when you walk into the garage to try to do stuff, or just, tying your shoes or living your daily life, or is that stuff in the rearview mirror?
No, I still deal with it. I got to be careful. Obviously, it's when I first started exercising again. I definitely went too hard too fast, and throw my back out and be out for a couple weeks, and be walking horizontal,
Mm,
stuff like
yeah.
that. So I definitely had to be careful, especially my back and my knees for sure. So a lot of times, scaling plays a huge part in that. Certain movements, I gotta focus more on form over weight and things like that, just to be safe.
Okay, so now understanding a bit more about the mechanism of your injury and specifically what occurred to you and how it's significant with regards to your back, that makes sense with some of the stuff when you and I were talking before the interview and you sent me some info about like deadlift numbers. And so I'm sure the deadlift is something which you need to have some extreme care when performing.
Big time deadlifts for sure. When I up until recently, when I first started doing deadlifts again, I had to take it really slow, really light, until I could get my, those, glute muscles and my lower back muscles strong again. And even now, there's instances where I know I can lift this weight, but I probably shouldn't. I should probably dial
Hmm.
it back 5 pounds or so just to be safe.
Out of curiosity, I'm going to make some bold assumptions here since I'm not a medical
Yeah.
professional, but if we've been in this game for a bit. I would tend to think that 9 out of 10 docs, if you went and saw them and they looked at your medical record and they did some sort of analysis, and then you said to them, "So, doc, can I have the green light to start deadlifting?" They'd be like, "Absolutely not," because they're
Yeah.
scared of it even in a healthy person, let alone somebody who had a jumping accident, spinal injury. Like, that's just, they're not going to do
Yeah.
that. What in your mind, especially with your back giving you the grief that it's given you, was the decision to start deadlifting again? What was that like?
Mostly started because of ego, to be honest. Especially coming from a Olympic lifting and powerlifting background, I really wanted to get back to that because I enjoy it.
Mm.
So ego was part of it, and then reality hit. So I really had to kind of take stock of, okay, is this really going to help me? Or is this going to hurt me? And I did a
Yeah.
lot of research on my own when it comes to back injuries and sciatica and things like that with deadlifting. And I found if I changed my form up a little bit and the way I plant my feet and the way I kind of carry myself when I'm doing the actual posture, my back problems would potentially get better. Um, and since I've been doing that, they have gotten actually a little bit better, um, more so than when I did physical therapy for all those years.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a couple things there. So, well, first of all, congrats. When you said when you've been with Linchpin for about 4 months now, and you started, your one rep deadlift was 115 pounds, and now you pulled 225, which is
Yeah.
phenomenal. That's crazy. It's 110 pounds more in 4 months. But, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I guess you're that perfect example of, people associate the deadlift just with the barbell, right? But the deadlift's just
Mhm.
picking something up off the ground. So you might have that physician who's like, look, sorry, Blake, you can't deadlift anymore. Like you just can't. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And then what are you supposed to do when one of your three kids, you got to pick them up off the ground?
Exactly. Yeah,
Like how are you
that's true.
supposed to,
It's the
so
same motion.
is your
Yeah.
doctor gonna be like, you can never pick your kids up again for the rest of your life? Like he probably wouldn't say that.
Yeah. I had an army physician tell me that one time. I was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen, but
He
okay.
told you not to pick your kids up?
Yeah. He's like, just don't pick him up. You'll be fine. I'm like, that's not how that works, but okay.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
let's stay within there. I'd rather injure my back every day than not pick my kids up for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So was it a struggle for you, especially since you said you love the lifts, you had some powerlifting, Olympic lifting background. You said that, ego is a powerful thing, and now
Mhm.
you understand that the deadlift can be done as a strengthening lift and basically as a health lift,
Yeah.
quite frankly. But that's a different mental way to approach it than, sniffing some smelling salts, slapping yourself in the face, turning AC/DC up to 11 and trying to rip something off the ground. Like, they're
Yeah.
both, but they're very different approaches to it. Did you have a bit of a struggle trying to look at the deadlift now through a different lens?
Oh yeah, it was tough, especially the beginning, because yeah, you look at the bar and you're like, I know I can lift more than this. I can do this. I see, you see other people, lifting more, and you're like, well, I'm the same shape as that guy, but you really gotta check yourself and be like, hold on, this slow down. You'll get slow and steady. You'll get better, because you throw your back out, then guess what? You can't lift for 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
what's funny? This is an entirely different discussion, but there's no way to actually like quantify this and have a real answer, but it's just like a thought discussion. But like truth
yeah,
be told, let's say for the rest of your life, you could never pull more than 2.25. Like 2.25 is great. You get to
mhm,
the point where you can do it for one, you could do it for three, you could do it for five, but you throw another couple tens on and 245 feels bad. 225 is your limit. What in the world are you not going to be prepared for in real life, lifting 100 kilos off the ground every now and then?
yeah,
Like everything above that is
exactly.
just bragging rights on the leaderboard.
Pretty much, yeah. At that point, it's bragging rights. It's not like I'm picking up a dude in full kit anymore. Like it's not
Right.
happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and again, compared, that's the interesting thing about like athletes, CrossFit, whatever you do in this world, you get so used to uh, certain loadings and times, and you don't realize that if you just went down to the mall or down to Walmart and then compared, your lifts to the average citizen, you're like a gladiator compared to the average citizen. Like
yeah,
you're a beast, but you're like, oh well, saw somebody else pulled, 405. Geez, I wish I could like it's so easy to get like deflated and down yourself, but you just gotta realize
yeah,
it really is you versus you. It really is just if you will be amazing if you can have the mental fortitude and discipline to like get a little bit of motivation from other people, but also have the superpower to ignore them and just
mhm,
walk into the garage and think, what is the best decision for me today? And if you like
yeah,
do that, you can have a pretty darn good experience, really.
yeah. Oh, it's true, 100%. Yeah, it's tough because yeah, like you saying with the ego part, you see everybody else's scores, and you're like, man. But then you do go walk outside, and you're like, all right, nobody else is exercising. All right, it's just me.
Yeah, a hundred
Yeah,
percent. So let's say you got out of the military, you started going back to school, you're trying to take care of your family, things are stressful, you turn to food, and you get up to now around 270 pounds at 5'11 and now being sedentary, Some people are that
yeah,
heavy and they're trying to walk or trying to get back in shape and they're doing stuff, but you're sedentary as well.
yep.
Uh, I've never experienced that. So do you have any recollection of just especially now that the weight's off.
Yeah.
Like, how did life's tasks feel? How did your back feel? How did stairs feel? How did, what does it feel like carrying around 270?
It's not easy. It You're tired all the time. Your joints hurt. Like breathing's heavy. It's tough, and it kind of, especially when it gradually comes on, because it's not like
Mm,
it did 100 pounds overnight. It was over some decent amount of time, but you don't realize it at first, and then you're like, oh man, these stairs are killing me, or oh wow, my heart hurts. All like I'm just standing still. This is weird, and then you just kind of put it in the back of your mind and keep going. So it's not an easy life for sure. It's definitely has some challenges. Um,
that's one of the
Especially
craziest things that people say that I've never experienced. Like, it would make sense to me that if something happened to me and I put on 100 pounds of bad weight, that like my joints would hurt. That makes
yeah,
perfect sense to me. Um, but you can also be in shape and have your joints hurt, right? And maybe you overdid it, maybe whatever. But a lot of people who haven't been in your situation have never had, like you said, breathing was hard. That
yeah.
every time I hear that, I'm like, that's crazy that breathing was hard. And is it possible to give me a sense of like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean breathing was
Yeah.
hard?
Um, this way I could put it is like if you ever gone to like high altitude areas and you're just like breathing like this, you feel like
No
even though
kidding.
you are breathing, you're just not getting that catch up of air. That's what it feels like. It
That
just
sounds
feels
like it
heavy, like labored
actually sounds like
almost.
it'd be scary a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of is.
But
It can
then
be
you get
scary. And I had
used to it.
terrible sleep apnea on top of it. Oh man,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. I had to get a CPAP machine and everything, and like, man, my yeah,
And
it's bad.
do you, maybe each person's different, but did you get to the point where you look back at what you used to be
Mhm.
and you look at where you are, and it probably seems like such a daunting task to get back to where you were that you're like, screw it, I'm gonna eat whatever I want today. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. Oh, it's very easy to get in that mindset. I was in it for a long time. That mindset, and then also just being like, yeah, the whole, life's short. I'll just eat what I want and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Indulge those kind of, pleasures. Food is, everybody loves food.
I love
You can't
food.
quit food.
I love food. I love food 100%.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's very easy to fall in that mindset and just just whatever. I don't care. I'll be fine and just keep going.
So what in the world? I mean, so you're just in that daily stuck in it, stuck in it, stuck in it,
Yeah.
negativity, eat, depression, like what's the point? Cycle, cycle, cycle. And some people stay there forever and ever until they're
Mhm.
on death's doorstep. What in the world sparked your change?
Yeah, honestly, it even living in California and stuff is expensive, so we moved to Colorado for lower cost of living, and I ended up finding a decent job out here. And even though the first 3 years of living in Colorado, kind of did the same lifestyle, sedentary, just eating whatever, 'cause, just didn't really care. And then it was after, we had our third son was born here in Colorado. And so I was taking care of him as well. And it was a lot of work. And, I started noticing like, man, especially in the higher altitude, um,
Mm,
like this is hard. Like I'm having a hard time even just walking. Like you just run out of breath just walking down the street. And my kids were getting older, and I wasn't able to really play with them ever. They're all boys, rambunctious, running around.
that was actually a question that I had because, we've got a
Yeah,
14-year-old boy, a 12-year-old boy, and my daughter's about to turn 3 here next
yeah,
month.
nice.
Yeah, she's a wild hellion. Love her to death. She's just an
Yeah,
absolute lunatic. And being fit, she wears me out. And I'm
yeah,
fit. Like how often I'm chasing around or I'm on the ground, then I'm up. I'm on the ground, then I'm up. I'm picking this, I'm bending over, I'm dry. Like it's nonstop every single solitary day, right?
yeah,
And I'll see like heavy parents when I'm out in town, and I'm thinking, you either A must be a bionic beast, so much better than me that it's amazing, or you feel like you're about to just pass out and die because I feel like I'm about to pass out and die, or you've just kind of given up on doing a lot of the stuff with your kids because you can't.
yeah.
Like, where did you was there just some things looking back at that you're just like, I'm just not going to chase you because I can't chase you.
Oh yeah, it happened all the time. They'd be like, "Come run with play soccer with us, or come run around." I'm like, "I can't. I'm tired." I'd say, "I'm tired. I'm tired." That's all I would say. In reality, in my head, I'm like, "I'm gonna die if I try and chase you. Like, I don't want to have a heart attack."
Oh my
Um, you
goodness.
know, it was, and that was part of the wake up call. Was yeah, about a year ago. Um, I just kind of, I guess I was having a lot of breathing problems. My sleep apnea was crazy. My blood pressure was through the roof. Um, I was just having a lot of health problems on top of the ones I received from the army. Um,
Hmm.
and my wife was had just joined a gym, and she was like, "Why don't you join with me? Come on, come on, come on." I was like, "No, no, no, I don't want to get. I can't make excuses. My back will hurt too much, or
Right.
I don't
Sure.
have the time, and anything my brain can think of, whatever mental gymnastics there were." And then she finally convinced me. So we went to a big box gym that was close by, which was okay. Problem with big box gyms is they're packed all the time. Um, it's 8,000 treadmills, and then one squat rack that's a Smith machine. And some people like Smith machines. They're not for me. The idea of a fixed barbell
Let
is
me
strange.
interrupt you. Let me interrupt you. We'll get back to you at
Yeah.
the costume. Did you mention, was it just your wife asking, or what was the catalyst that now you started to try to get healthy?
She just kept asking me to go with her, and,
Okay.
she
Okay.
said, "You'll feel
She
better
wore you
about
down.
yourself." Yeah. She's like, "Come on," she tried to be encouraging, and
Okay.
I was fine. I basically, just reluctantly said yes. And so going to the big box gym, did that for like 4 or 5 months, and like I said, most of the time, everything was in use just because it's busy, one pull-up bar, one dip bar. You can't really do any Olympic lifts there, which is what I grew up on. So I just did a lot of cardio, like a hell of a lot of cardio, which was a big reason why I lost some of the weight so quickly.
Did you
Because that's all
change how you're eating?
not at first, and I knew I should have. And all the nutrition stuff I learned in the past, I'm like, I know the right answer, but in my mind, I was still having that battle of, well, I'm working out, so I can still kind of eat bad and live a balanced life. And I did that, for a few months, and then I finally was just like, okay, time to stop playing. Like, you
I
start eating
personally
better.
think, for me, I can't speak for everybody, but
Yeah.
between two disciplines, like the discipline to work out and the discipline to eat well, I find working out way easier than the discipline to eat well. Like for me
Oh
personally,
yeah,
it requires way more
100%.
discipline. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That was definitely harder than actually going to the gym. Was getting the diet back on track. But you do the same eating habits for so many years. It's hard to break. Really hard to
You
break.
eventually changed something nutritionally, so which is interesting because I have
Yeah.
no clue what you follow, what your protocol is. So I'm going to hear this for the first time as well. I guess did you get to some point that you're like, all right, the treadmill's not enough, I got to change something else? And then how did you make the decision as to what style of eating you're going to do?
Yeah. So as far as the eating goes, I went back to what I learned initially years ago was basically just fitting your macros essentially. So as long as you hit your macros, protein, fats, carbs for the day, and then your whatever macros you got, and then just looking at your calories in and calories out, and just
Hmm.
doing it that way. And that for my body, that seems to work really well. So as
Okay.
long as I hit my macros, whatever calories I have left over for the day, that can be, whatever. That
Yep.
way I'm not, yeah, I can, if I had 200 calories left for the day, sure, I already hit my macros, I'll have that. I'll have a cookie, I'll
Yeah, a little treat.
have some cereal. Well, cereal's my, yeah, exactly. And then, that way I don't binge eat on the weekend, because if I go too strict, then you fall into binge eating after. Like, you just, I'm gonna eat this whole bowl of
Amen.
ice cream tonight.
Yes. No, I
Yeah,
truly believe that whole perfect is the enemy of the good, right? I mean, it's if you're
yeah.
like starting tomorrow, I'm gonna be pure, unadulterated perfection for every meal for the rest of my life. It's like, no, you're not.
No,
That's not gonna go well.
it doesn't. It doesn't. You can go strict for only so long, and then you just collapse, and then it just,
But you've obviously, so you're down right now to 175, 180-ish.
yeah, yeah. Depends on the day. Yeah, 165, 180, floating around there.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, really close to being down 100 pounds, really close to where you were.
Yeah.
That's a staggering amount of weight to lose. So what was the nice, you obviously found something that works and is sustainable,
Mhm.
so if you had to describe, I know that you're counting your macros, but if you had to describe how you eat to somebody, like what would it, well, how would you
Yeah.
say that?
So I basically just calculated how many calories a day my body burns with my current lifestyle, and then if I want to lose weight, I just subtract about 200 calories off that. Then that's what I eat the day, and then if I want to gain, then I'll add about 200 calories to that, and then that's what I
And
eat for the
how
day.
did you come up with that initial calculation? Because at least for your body, it seems like it must have been pretty darn accurate.
Yeah, I had a calculator I received a long time ago from a strength and conditioning coach I had, who was he used to do strength and conditioning for the New England Patriots, and then he got a job doing strength and conditioning for the Thor program in the Army.
Okay.
I ended up getting it from him, and that's what I used to calculate basically like my base caloric rates and stuff.
Okay. And do you try to eat, as long as you hit those numbers, are you good? Are you trying to eat, fruits and vegetables? Are you like, it doesn't matter if it's, bread and Ritz crackers, like the calories are the calories, where are you landing there?
Yeah. So throughout the whole day, I try and stick to um, as clean as I can. So, hit the right protein, fats, and carbs for the day. And then once I'm done, like, okay, I got my 180 grams of protein in today, my 60 grams of fat, 100 grams of carbs, I'm good. I still have, however many calories left over. Then if I feel hungry, I'll have, whatever, cupcake my wife makes or something, just to kind of balance it out a little bit. But or if there's no, I'm not craving sweets, then I'll have something healthy, at the end of the day. A banana or Greek yogurt or something. So as long as I hit my good nutrition by the end of the day, I'm set for the rest of the day.
Once you started the process of, especially on the nutrition side of the house,
Hmm.
is it a relatively smooth path to the man that we see today, or were there some, failures back on the wagon, doing it again, failure back on the wagon?
I would say for the first few months, it was very up and down. I do good for a day or two, and then I crash and eat like crap for a day, and then it's did that for the first couple months, and then kind of got ironed out. Like any adjustment to lifestyle, it takes a little bit to fully adjust to it. And then now consistently, I've been doing it, for months, and haven't gone back.
Man, that's super cool. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that it feels good to feel good.
It does. It feels awesome. It's great. I said my sleep apnea is gone, which is probably the biggest thing. My blood pressure is back to normal. I just am happier, not depressed anymore. My anxiety is a lot less. It's just things are much better
Isn't that wild?
overall. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
I'm sure your kids appreciate it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now we play and we race each other doing sprints, and or they'll be on their bikes trying to beat me and stuff. It's fun.
Oh man, that's super cool. Well, let's say as two, maybe we can end it this way with two
Yeah.
individuals who were just born with sweet tooths. When you do get to indulge, what do you like to have?
My big what cereal. I love cereal, like
What's, I
Reese's
mean, like,
Puffs. Yeah,
oh, Reese's,
Captain
I've never
Crunch.
had Reese's Puffs. Cinnamon Toast
Oh,
Crunch would be high on my list.
yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah, sugary cereal is my guilty ones for
They're
sure.
so good. They're so
They're so
good. I mean,
yeah. Sometimes instead of milk, I'll use like vanilla protein powder and like almond milk just to
oh,
make it a little bit healthier.
there you go. There you go. That's cool. But
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I can be right there with you, my friend, for the
yeah.
cereals. Good. There's some good old school cereals from my childhood that, as far as I'm concerned, still stand the test of time, and they're just as delicious today if I happen to have a bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I guess if anybody's watching this, and weight loss is, I mean, obviously is a huge topic in the United States of America. I don't want to speak for the whole world, but in our
Yeah.
country, it's ravaging people the need for to have a healthy body composition. Advice, tips, tricks, lessons learned, what would you, just some parting thoughts for people?
Yeah, best advice I could really give is just consistency. Is the biggest thing. As long as you're consistent in your diet and your exercise, you'll be fine. You're going to fail. You're going to go backwards. Just get back on and keep going. Eventually, you'll get there. Everybody got to start somewhere.
Man, much appreciated. And how long did it take to lose, the ballpark 95, pounds or whatever it was?
It's been, I guess, just shy of a year.
Okay, wow. Jeez, good
Yeah,
for you, man. That's
it's
awesome.
quick.
Well,
Yeah,
Blake, I appreciate, man, appreciate you being part of
yeah,
Linchpin. I appreciate you sharing your story, being open to that. Like I said, it's a topic that's on everybody's mind. You're very transparent and honest about the whole thing. So yeah, just keep up the good work and I wish you nothing but the best.
yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, have a good one.